All right, welcome back to today's game with the number 6 nationally ranked West Sound Rebels against the Grit City Knights. This is the second meeting of the season between these two teams. The first meeting of them occurring on June 25th. The West Sound Rebels decisively having the victory on that day over the Grid City Knights, 60 to 12 points. West Sound Rebels have added a few players to their active roster since that game, and both teams have matured throughout the season, so it'll be interesting to see how the day progresses. We do have a little bit later kickoff than usual, but things should be moving along quite well here shortly. And right now you can see the captains coming off the field, and we will see who's receiving the ball shortly. But first, we're going to thank a few of our sponsors before we even get started. First one we'd like to thank is the Toyota of Olympia. If you're out in Olympia looking for a car or truck, be sure to check out Toyota of Olympia for any of those needs that you may have. Thank you so much for your support of the West Sound Rebels. We'd also like to thank Joel Gibson Jr., who is a local country music artist in the Pacific Northwest. So if you like country music or you like music of any kind, just go check out Joel Gibson Jr. on Instagram, or just give him a Google. Check him out on YouTube, any main social media, Facebook, whatever your fancy is, TikTok, whatever. And then lastly, Tracyton Movie House in Bremerton. If you're out in Bremerton and you're looking for some good movies to check out, give Tracyton Movie House a quick Google Maps or Apple Maps search. Head on over there and check out a movie or two. It's a sweet little place that they got going there. That's Tracyton Movie House in Bremerton. So, with all that being said, we can turn our attention over to the actual game. We got the special teams coming out, and we have the West Sound Rebels kicking off to the Grit City Knights. All right. If you were with us last week, you knew exactly how hot it was. This week's a little bit more manageable. We are back in the 70s in the Pacific Northwest. A beautiful day for some football. Beautiful evening for some football, I should say. And here comes the kick by Vernon Parker. Big kick way back there, and it looks like the Knights are just gonna take the touchback on that one, so they're gonna be taking the ball from their own 25-yard line. All right, this game is being played in Tacoma, Washington. You can actually look in the upper right hand of the screen, and that is Mount Rainier. Very beautiful sight from just about anywhere in really western central Washington, we'll say. It's a very large mountain, a little over 14,000 feet in elevation. Massive, but beautiful. And we got the Knights offense making their way out to the field, the Rebels defense making their way out. We will be seeing how these two teams match up and see if the Knights offense can produce a potent mode of scoring against these defensive players from the Rebels, who have been extremely effective this season, holding a very low points allowed average across the entire season. Very impressive players, actually. So, just waiting for him to get down on the line. All right, looks like the officials just had to take care of a few things before the game actually commenced, and the snap back to number 14 for the Knights. Run straight up the middle, and it looks like a very short gain of yards, if any. We will see where the officials place that down. All right, snap back to number 14 for the Knights. Big throw over the center, deflected by number 26. That is Taekwon Bowie. Excellent hands right there. It almost looked like he was about to pick that off. That would have been quite the second play of the game. And it looks like the Knights will find themselves on their own 25-yard line, 3rd and 10. All right, Knights on the line. Snap back to number 14 once again. Middle is wide open for 26 to run straight through. Short pass over to number 32, fumbled and recovered by number 32 from the Knights. And ultimately, that is going to be a decent loss of yardage right there. We'll see where the officials place it down. Looks like it's going to be around the 16-yard line in the Knights territory, which will put the Knights at about 19 yards to go to the first down, so that will be 4th and 19. All right, a little bit of a strange defensive lineup. Oh, and quite the mishap with the snap for the punt. So we will see what happens here. All right, so just had to get a little bit of clarification on exactly the ramifications of what occurred on that play, and that is a safety, in fact. So we will have 2 points for the Rebels coming in from that play, and we will have the Knights kicking off to the Rebels. So quick 2 points for the Rebels, out to a fast 2-0 lead over the Knights, and special teams are out. But first, we'd like to thank one or two of our sponsors real quick. We'd like to thank the Harbor Life Chiropractic PC in Gig Harbor. If your back's hurting and you're feeling older than you should, you live in the Gig Harbor area, this is your wake-up call. Go get checked out. Go get your body feeling good, and go check out Harbor Life Chiropractic PC in Gig Harbor. They can help you out with that, okay? You don't have to live in pain. Just go check them out. And if you're in the Tacoma area and you're looking for a dispensary, go check out Clear Choice Dispensary in Tacoma. The choice is clear, Clear Choice. All right, getting back to the game. A kick by number 13 of the Knights. Coming down to around the 40-yard line for the Rebels. Received by number 81. That is Shane Deshotel. And ran up until about the 40. Let's see where the officials place it. So the Rebels in possession of the ball, and the ball is placed at the Knights' 48-yard line. All right, and here we go with 1st and 10 for the Knights, or sorry, for the Rebels' first possession of the game. Of course, we are in. Oop, and quick, handed back. Oh, okay. a little bit of wild play right there. A quick run off to the side. It looked like one of the Knights actually hopped on the back of the running back, and I did not catch who was carrying the ball, but they just happened to run directly up the field and carry that defender right along. If I had to make a guess, that would have been number 26, Taekwon Bowie, though. And he's got quite the pair of legs. Snap back, looks like a little bit of confusion right there. Looks like a small loss of yards. We will see where that comes out at. Ooh, yeah, decent loss of yards, unfortunately, for the Rebels right there. Looks like this will bring them to about 3rd and 8 on the Knights' 47-yard line. Rebels down for the snap. Snap back, and quick pass over to, who is that, number 51. That is Darius Ridley. And looks like that play will be good for a 1st down. So we're going to see the chains moving a little bit. Going to see the Rebels taking on the Knights defense for just a little bit longer. And the Rebels with the ball on the Knights' 33-yard line. Snap back to number 3, that is TJ. And big pass received by number 15, that is Demetrius Rackley. All right, snap back to JT, looking across the field for a good receiver. Big throw out to the corner, intended for number 14, that is Connor Wade Centino, but just a little bit over his head, a little too far, and could not quite make that play happen. So right, the Rebels will find themselves back on the Knights' 15-yard line, 2nd and 10. Plenty of game left. We're still very early in the 1st quarter. Ball is handed off to number 24. That is Randy Greer. Looks like a decent gain of yards right there. All right, 4th and, oh, no. Looks like we will find ourselves 3rd and 9. Rebels on the ball, snap back to JT. Running out to the side, pass back in the corner, and we will see what the officials say. Hands up in the air, raise the roof. That is 1 touchdown. So 6 more points on to the score for the Rebels. That's going to bring their score up to 8 points. And early in the 1st quarter, we have an 8-point lead for the Rebels. It'll be interesting to see if they want to push for the 2-point conversion or just take a 1-point kick. So earlier in the season, we definitely saw Vernon Parker being a little bit inconsistent with his 1-point kicks, but in the last game, he definitely has made major improvements, and I think that may lead to more frequent 1-point kicks for this team, and it's gonna that consistency is always a good thing when you can rely on that. And you can see right here we actually have the 1-point kick lined up. Whistle blows right before the play. Referees are waving it off. Something happened. We're gonna find out here shortly. Looks like okay, looks like they're just redoing the down, so we will see how this comes out. This, again, is a 1-point kick. Snap back, and kick is up. Looks like the kick is good, so that will be 1 more point added to the Rebels' score. That brings them to 9 points to the Knights 0 early in the first quarter. Teams are going to be swapping out, but while they're doing that, we want to give a couple shout-outs to a few of the West Sound Rebels sponsors. McLeod's Grill House in Bremerton. If you're out in Bremerton, you're looking for some tasty food, go check out McLeod's Grill House in Bremerton. You got a tasty, tasty menu over there. We also would like to thank Hops and Drops in Silverdale. If you are enjoying your summer, as you should be, and you find yourself over in Silverdale, make sure to check out Hops and Drops for a few of their brews. They got a wide selection of beers, and who doesn't love a beer on a hot Pacific Northwest day? We'd also like to thank Woodridge Vision Clinic in Port Orchard. If your eyes aren't what they used to be, and you're starting to have to squint to see the signs on the road, why not just be a little bit safer? Keep you safe, keep your family safe, and get a little bit of that HD life. Get your eyes checked over at Woodridge Vision Clinic in Port Orchard and restore that quality of life that is your sense of vision. Getting back to the game, we have the Rebels kicking off to the Knights. Kick is up by Vernon Parker. Huge kick way in the back, and they're going to run it. So Knights are bringing the ball up the field. Looks like there's some hands on him around the 8-yard line. A little bit of gain, and we will see if that run was a wise decision for the Knights, or if they should have just taken a knee and took the ball at the 25-yard line. Okay, looks like the run was ruled down at the 23-yard line, so Knights will find themselves on their own 23-yard line, 1st and 10. Again, Knights in possession of the ball. Knights offense on the field. Rebels defense on the field. Rebels defense has been quite potent and quite a few interceptions this season in general. We almost saw one in the second play of the game, so it'll be interesting to see if some of those linebackers are going to be trying to read the plays and just pick off that ball. All right, looks like there's been a timeout called, and we're going to take that opportunity to thank a few more sponsors. We have the Clark brothers. Thank you so much for your continued support. We see you, we see you on this broadcast every week, and we so appreciate your support for the West Sound Rebels. Thank you so much to the Clark brothers. We also have Bacavino Winery in Tukwila. If you have any friends or family, or you just happen to like some wine, go check out Bacavino Winery in Tukwila. They got some great reds. They got a good selection of whites and some tasty, tasty rosés as well. So get your butt on over there and check out Bacavino Winery in Tukwila. We also have Mr. and Mrs. Myers in Bremerton. Thank you so much for your continued support. You guys are always supporting the West Sound Rebels, and we so very much appreciate that. And I know you love it when we give you that shout out, but we love it when you support us every week without fail. So thank you so much to Mr. and Mrs. Myers in Bremerton. Turn our attention back to the field. Timeout is over, and we are going to be resuming this game. Again, the score is 9-0. Rebels are up over the Knights. Officials seem to be chatting amongst themselves and with a few of the players. There appears to be some kind of flag. Perhaps Perhaps a little bit of confusion there, but we are back and ready to rumble. Quick snap back to number 14 and a run by number 10 of the Knights. Very short gain, if any, on that play. Quickly brought down around the 25-yard line. Looks like a very small gain. Yeah, it looks like a gain of about 1 yard, and that's going to bring the Knights up to their own 24-yard line, 2nd and 9. All right, Knights on the ball, Rebels on the line of scrimmage. And snap back to number 14. Another attempt straight up the middle by the running back, number 10 of the Knights, and, number 30 on that of the Knights. And very little gain. Looks like down by contact. Just simply no more forward progress. So, ton of Rebels defensive players on the ball right there. All right. Looks like we're on the 26-yard line, 3rd and about 6 for the Knights. All right, snap back to number 14. Looks across the field. Number 94 is directly on that quarterback, and that is Isley Stoneham with the sack on that play. Big play, huge loss of yards. Isley got back there very swiftly and aggressively, put some hands on that quarterback and said, no, I'm a hungry boy, I'm a big boy, I'm getting some QB chicken. No. Okay. So, 4th and long, we're just going to leave it at that for the Knights. Looks like there's going to be a punt. All right, Knights ready to snap the ball back. Snap is way far back. Number 5 punts the ball up, and the ball is bouncing. Little bit of unnecessary contact right there on the field. It'll be interesting to see. What occurs with that. All right. So the Rebels defense is leaving the field. Rebels offense is taking the field, and the Knights defense is coming out. All right. So that was a nice play. JT getting the ball and then handing it off to number 23, Marshall DeWalt, for a good gain of yards. In this play, we have the snap back to number 3, JT. Big pass up and intended for number 2. Could not quite make that happen. That would be Thomas Alston. Very talented player for the Rebels, responsible for many points over the last 2 or 3 games. All right, that brings the Rebels to 3rd and 5 on the 50-yard line. Rebels on the ball and the Knights defense on the line of scrimmage. Snap back to JT, quick drop back, read the field, pass over to number 2, Thomas Alston, and he is fighting right on the line of scrimmage. This is going to be a call really of the officials, see if he crossed that line or if he was effectively stopped at the line, because that was very close. I'm standing right on the 45-yard line, which is where that first down marker is, and it was extremely close, like inches easily. Looks like the officials are ruling it as a first down. So that play was good, first down. We got the chains moving, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Rebels. Looks like a little bit of an, well, I don't want to call it before the officials do, but it looks like it's going to be a false start on that play. Got a flag on the play. All right, so ruled as a false start. Pushing the ball back 5 yards to the 50. Snap back to JT. Quick pass over to number 51. Huge gain of yards. And it looks like that pass was completed to Darius Ridley. A couple players, at least one player down at the moment. And he's back up pretty swiftly. That's good. We never like to see players injured. You know, there's a big difference between being hurt and injured, and you know, you can play through being hurt, but being injured is an entirely different animal. Snap back to JT, quick handoff to number 23, Marshall DeWalt, making his way up the center of the field, pumping those legs, even though he's made contact with 2 additional defenders, and a huge gain of yards for Marshall DeWalt. Looks like the ball will find its home at about the 19-yard line. Rebels in possession of the ball on the Knights' 19-yard line. All right, ball snapped back and thrown over to number 14, who successfully received the ball. Touchdown, and that is Connor Wade Centino with the reception. Excellent work. So that's going to be good for another 6 points, and we will see if the Rebels are going to push for a 2-point conversion or just simply 1 more point. All right, kick is up, and it is ruled as good. That's going to be 1 more additional point for the Rebels. Excellent work by number 16, Vernon Parker. Very consistent these last few games on those kicks. You know, he started the season with a lot of power, but it seemed like he didn't quite have the control developed, and it looks like he's really starting to mature into a very good kicker. So we got the special teams making their way out. Score is 16-0 with the Rebels leading the Knights. All right, Vernon Parker getting ready to kick that ball nice and hard all the way to the back of the end zone. And the Knights make the wise decision to just take the ball at their own 25. All right, Knights offense making their way out, and the Rebels defense making their way out for the third time this game. You know, and if you like the jerseys that you're seeing out there right now with the Rebels, then look no further than Northwest Athletic Apparel. That is actually one of our sponsors here at the West Sound Rebels. Huge shout out to Northwest Athletic Apparel. Fun little fact, actually, Northwest Athletic Apparel makes both of the teams apparel. So if you like either of the team's apparel, you should get your eyes or your butt on over to Northwest Athletic Apparel and see what they have that might suit your fancy. All right. Knights on the ball and Rebels on the line of scrimmage. Snap back to number 14. Pass and an interception by number 2, Thomas Alston. We will see if there's any flags on the play. All right, looks like number 2, Thomas Alston, did in fact intercept that ball and then stepped immediately out of bounds. So we have the Knights offense leaving this field and the Knights defense taking their place, with the Rebels offense making their way out to the field. All right. Looks like there's a little fumble right there from the Rebels. Been a pretty fast-paced game, a lot of points scored thus far. Fatigue might be an issue for this offense, but we will see. All right, snap back to JT and looking for a good receiver. Pass. Looks like it was intended for number 11, but or someone else. Can't quite make out exactly what happened from my vantage point, but looks like that was an incomplete pass. All right, 3rd and 11 for the Rebels. Snap back to JT, scanning the field, moving up the field a little bit, and deciding to just tuck the ball and run it up himself, running out of bounds. What looked like around the 20-yard line. Looks like the officials will be placing the ball at the 19-yard line. And the Rebels will find themselves on the Knights' 19-yard line. 4th and 4. So it'll be interesting to see if the Rebels decide to go for it or if they're going to kick it. And it definitely looks like they're lining up to go for it. Snap back to JT on this 4th play. Flag is thrown. We'll see what that is about. Quick pass up intended for what looked like number 2, Thomas Alston. But there is a flag on the play. And it looks like we have at least one official pointing over to the Knights side. We'll see what that is ruled as. Oh, right. Looks like it was a defensive penalty, and that's going to move the ball up for a first down for the Rebels. Snap back to JT and a fake handoff, but then pitched over to number 23, Marshall DeWalt, finding himself in the a little bit too far back to make any gain of yards, just could not find an opening. Looks like he's going to have to settle for a small loss of yards. One of the few times you see Marshall DeWalt not able to break through that line of scrimmage and just pump those legs through several defenders. Looks like he just could not quite get momentum going. So it looks like there was a penalty, and the Rebels find themselves 1st and 20. Snap back to JT, looking around. Pocket's no longer safe. Pass out to number 15. Received and got 2 hands directly on the face, but that was not enough to bring down number 15, Mr. Demetrius Rackley. Just did a little spin move, decided to run back up the field, gain another yard or 2 before he was brought down. Nice gain of about 6.5 yards, which will bring the Rebels up to the 19-yard line in Knights territory. 2nd and 13. Snap back to JT, looking around the field once again. Pitch over to number 23, Marshall DeWalt, running, and making plenty of progress up the center of the field. Brought down by 2 defenders, and I don't know exactly how they brought him down, but his helmet came off. But I'm sure Marshall doesn't mind. He is just one tough fella. All right, looks like we have 1st and goal for the Rebels on the Knights 2-yard line. Snap back and hand it off to number 24. It looks like it's going to be good for a touchdown. That is Randy Greer running the ball and getting the touchdown. So that's going to be another 6 points for the Rebels. Excellent touchdown. What you're seeing right now on the instant replay. All right, snap back and kick is up for the 1 point. Let's see if it's good, and it is good. That'll be +1 for the Rebels. All right, 23-0, Rebels leading the game. Pretty aggressive lead by the Rebels. But we'd like to take this opportunity to thank a few more of our sponsors. We have Timberland Savings Bank. If you are in the market for a checking or savings account and you haven't checked out Timberland Savings Bank, you should just get your butt on over there and check them out. That is Timberland Savings Bank. Thank you so much for your support. We also have Cloyce and Mike Construction in Bremerton. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you're out on the peninsula or really anywhere and you're looking to get a construction project done in a timely manner that is cost effective, then look no further than Cloyce and Mike Construction in Bremerton. Thank you so much for your continued support. Cloyce and Mike Construction in Bremerton. All right, getting back to the field, we have the Rebels kicking the ball to the Knights. Deep kick received by the Knights, and making their way up the field past the 20, past the 25. Looks like it's going to be down around the 27-yard line for the Knights. And while we got the teams swapping out, we just want to thank one more of our sponsors real quick, the Senecal family. Thank you so much for your continued support. You guys support the West Sound Rebels every week, and we do appreciate that. So thank you so much for that continued support. We appreciate you. Senecal family, thank you. All right. We got the Knights offense on the field, huddled up, trying to figure out, hey, where's the weak spot of this Rebels defense? Trying to score a few points. We'll see what they try on this series. But they got the ball on their own 27-yard line. Snap back to number 14 and handed off for a run to number 10. Looks like he's going to be brought down pretty quickly. Looks like a gain of maybe 2 yards. Okay, gain of 3 yards. So we will see the Knights on their own 30-yard line, 2nd and 7. All right, both teams on the ball. Snap back to number 14 for the Knights. Passes up and almost caught by number 5. But we have number 44 from the Rebels, Mr. Jack McDonald, says, no, I don't think I want you to catch that ball. And coming in really disrupting that play of the Knights. All right, both teams back on the line of scrimmage. Snap back to number 14. Looking around, pass slipped through the hands of number 26. Looks like there's going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct on that, but it definitely, that throw slipped through Taekwon Bowie's hands just barely. It was almost picked off by Taekwon Bowie. All right, looks like the officials are talking amongst themselves, kind of sorting out exactly what they saw. But while they're talking it out amongst themselves, we'd like to thank a few of our sponsors, Left Coast Events being the first one. If you have any kind of event coming up, or you need some catering done, or you need some print done, anything involving events, really, check out Left Coast Events for anything that you may need for that event. Thank you so much for your continued support of the West Sound Rebels. We also have Fat Zach's Pizza. Nobody trusts, well, let me start over. Nobody should trust a skinny chef, okay? Food's meant to be delicious, and Fat Zach knows how to make some good pizza, all right? If you like pineapples, if you don't like pineapples, it doesn't matter, okay? He's going to make it how you like it and how you ordered it, and he's just going to make it delicious because that's the only way he knows how to do it. That's Fat Zach's way, Fat Zach's Pizza. Thank you so much for your support. We also have Swoop Sound. What is Swoop Sound? That is what you're watching and hearing now. That is the media company that is covering this broadcast, or this event, I should say, and you can hire them or us to cover your event of choice, be it soccer, like a kids game, or anything that you could really want to document, any kind of event, be it sporting or just a special occasion, wedding, whatever you need. That is what Swoop Sounds can cover. So make sure you check us out on Instagram at Swoop Sounds. That is Swoop Sounds on Instagram. Thank you so much for for your continued support of the West Sound Rebels. And getting back to the game, looks like the officials have perhaps made some conclusion. Still waiting on a little bit of a answer to come through on the earphone, but we will see what happens. All right, not entirely sure what is taking so long here, but we do have about 2 minutes left in the first quarter. And the current score is 23-0. Rebels leading the way. All right, we do apologize for this this kind of delay. What we actually have is a situation where all of the officials have to agree unanimously about what direction to take for the call. And on the last play, there were actually 2 flags on the play. So the play was called back, and then first quarter expired, so we came into the second quarter, which explains the adjustment on the field. All right, so Knights taking the ball, snap back, third and long, and just thrown over the head of all of the receivers. And that's going to bring the Knights to their 4th down and about 16. All right, so the Knights find themselves 4th and deep. Once again, they're going to have to snap the ball back. Much better snap to the kicker. Quick punt received by number 4 of the Rebels. Looking for a good line to follow, running up the field. Got some hands on him around the 32-yard line and pretty swiftly brought down. So that was number 4 of the Rebels carrying the ball on that play, Isaiah Seif. All right. So very early in the second quarter, the Rebels find themselves 10 yards away from the red zone. Deep in the Knights territory in the 30 on the 30-yard line of the Knights. Snap back to JT. Pass intended for number 11. That is Corey Klingberg. But it was not meant to be. So, pass is incomplete. Rebels are going to take the ball, pick up on the Knights 30-yard line, and we have a 2nd and 10. Snap back to JT, looking around the field, looking for a good spot. Ball is up, and looks like the pass was broken up. Pretty solid coverage by number 21 and number 3 of the Grit City Knights. Really making it hard for what looked like number 84 and number 11 of the Rebels to receive the ball. Snap back to number 3 and hand it off to number 24 for a run. As Randy Greer making his way up the field, getting some decent gain of yards. And good enough for a first down, so we will see those chains moving once again. All right, snap back to JT, and looks like he's going to be running it. He's tucked the ball, running out to the side, says, nah, I gotta carry the team right now. Looks like he goes out around the 10-yard line, which is going to be a very good gain of yards. We'll see if that's ruled as a first down because it's going to be very close. And it is good for a first down. So we have 1st and goal on the 8-yard line. All right, snap back to number 3 and hand it off to number 10, making his way through a huge hole in the defense. But ultimately brought down by about 3 defenders. And we will see what kind of gain of yards that is given, but there's a flag on the play. So we'll see what that call is. It does appear that the flag is on the defense, so we will see how this is played. All right. So it looks like there was a neutral zone infraction, which will result in a penalty of half the distance to the goal. So Rebels will find themselves right around the 4-yard line of the Knights. 1st and goal. All right, looks like the Rebels are planning a run here. We have a snap back and no run. In fact, we got JT's head on a swivel. He sees number 2 and passes it over to Thomas Alston, who receives the ball, and it looks like it is good for another 6 points. That'll be a touchdown for the Rebels. All right, so that brings the score up to 29-0. Rebels versus the Knight. And we'll see if they go for the 2 points or the 1 point. All right. Looks like the 2 point conversion is what they're going after. Ball is snapped back, and JT hands it off to number 10, Simeon Wells, who runs that ball straight into the end zone. Excellent work by the Rebels lineman as well, just making a hole wide enough to drive a truck through. So it just made the legwork by Simeon just a little bit more easy, a little bit more certain. But that is 2 more points for the Rebels, and that brings them up to 31 points. All right, while we have the special teams coming out, we'd like to thank a few more of our sponsors. We have Metro Parks of Tacoma. Thank you so much for your continued support. Go check out Metro Parks of Tacoma. We also have Fine Ivory Enterprises, LLC. If you are an athlete or just someone looking to get some kind of wellness treatment, then look no further than Fine Ivory Enterprises, LLC. They're actually a mobile wellness service that can come to you anywhere in King County and many places in Pierce. And they also have a brick and mortar in King County. Pretty awesome. Fine Ivory Enterprises, LLC. Getting back to the game, we resume with the Rebels kicking the ball to the Knights, and a little bit of confusion as to who actually received the ball on that kick. It looks like the Rebels got the ball on that kickoff, so that is a successful onside kick for the Rebels, and they will have possession of the ball once again. So the Rebels will be taking the ball from the Knights' 39-yard line. Very aggressive play, but it looks like the Knights just could not, they didn't have an answer for that onside kick. All right, snap back to JT, and passes up. Ooh. Pass is intended for number 84. Sorry, is that 84? Pass is intended for number 84 of the Rebels, but it looked like it was intercepted. So it looks like the ball was actually intercepted by one of the Knights in the end zone, which is going to result in the Knights taking the ball. And there is a challenge on the field. Very likely that the ball was in fact caught, but there was no contact in bounds, meaning that there was no successful interception. I did happen to have some good eyes on that play, and it was very close. So let's take a look and see if we can get a replay on that and actually get a better idea of what exactly happened right there. So here we have the play.
All right, snap back to JT,
and JT looked past the ball. Pretty close. So that does kind of look like he's in. Looks like that is going to be a successful interception. All right. Huge shout out to Swoop Sounds for that instant replay. That's pretty awesome that we can just call that up whenever it's needed. So in real time, because this game is happening right now. It's not like this was a post-production thing. All right, so it looks like the interception was ruled as good. And snap is off. Ball is being carried up the field, and the Knights ball carrier is aggressively brought down by the defense. All right, the Knights making a small gain of yards on that play, find themselves on their own 21-yard line, 2nd and 9 here in Tacoma, Washington. Knights lining up on the ball, and the ball is snapped back to number 14, looking for somebody to pass it to. Quick pass over to number 81 of the Knights, and it looks like that was a complete pass. Solid gain of yardage on that play. And the Knights will take the ball from the 27-yard line with 3rd and 3 to go. Snap back to number 14. Plenty of time to look around, make a decision. Decides to tuck the ball and just run it up himself. Runs through one tackle attempt and looks like he's going to be good for the first down, which is going to keep the ball going. All right, 1st and 10, snap back to number 14. Looking for somebody to pass to. Pass intended for number 10 of the Knights and just got one hand on it. Could not complete it. Could not pull that ball in for a complete pass. So that will leave the Knights with an incomplete pass and 2nd and 10 on their own 32-yard line. All right, Knights lined up, snapped, and quickly passed over to number 27, who's brought down by number 2 and number 4. That is Thomas Alston and Isaiah Seif. Quite the hit on that play. All right, looks like there's a timeout on the field. And we will take this opportunity to thank one more of our sponsors, Tres Agave in Belfair. If you are out in the Belfair area, out on the peninsula, and looking for some delicious Mexican food, look no further than Tres Agaves. Thank you so much for your continued support of the West Sound Rebels. So, getting back to the game, we got this timeout. We got a nice sunny day in Tacoma, Washington. We got a 31-point lead for the Rebels over the Knights currently. Still in the first half of the game. And the Knights will have to take the ball from their own 35-yard line. 4th and 8 to go. All right, Knights making their way to the line, getting ready to snap the ball. All right, snap back to number 14. Defense back in the backfield pretty swiftly. Pass over number 5. Failed forearm tackle, but brought down right around the 40-yard line, which will not be good for a first down. However, there is a flag on the play, so we will see who that flag is on. And if it's on the defense, then that could very well mean that the penalty results in a first down for the Knights. If it's on the offense, then it doesn't matter too much because the Rebels are going to want to take that turnover. So looks like we'll have a little bit of time while the referees chat it over, kind of sort out what's going on and who will be penalized for what. All right, so it looks like there was a personal foul after the play, which after the turnover was assessed, and that is why we have a difference in field position for the Rebels taking the ball offensively. It looks like there was also a short run attempt right there, but plenty of flags thrown and a little bit of an altercation. All right, so we have 2 flags on the field. All right, and another timeout on the field. It does look like there was a 1-yard loss on that last play, so the Rebels will find themselves on their own 44-yard line, or sorry, 43-yard line with 2nd and 11 to go. All right, Rebels get the snap back to JT, fake handoff and looking up the field. Big pass intended for number 11, Corey Klingberg. Looks like it is good, and Corey will be brought down right around the 5-yard line. Going to be good for a first down, and they will be taking the ball from around the 5-yard line of the Knights. 1st and goal. Very big play right there. Not sure how much time is left in this second quarter of the game, but hopefully there will be enough for the Rebels to get another 6 points on the board. All right, looks like that is good for a touchdown. Quick snap and run in by JT, number 3. That's going to bring the score up to 37. And we have a quick replay brought to you by Swoop Sounds. Nice run up the side of the field there. All right, quarterback for the Rebels. One of the best, well, one of the highest ranked, we'll say at least, but certainly one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Snap back and hand it off to Marshall DeWalt, bouncing off 1 or 2 players before looking like he's going to make his way in, and that will be good for a 2-point conversion. Awesome work by Marshall DeWalt. All right, that brings the score up to 39 for the Rebels. And we got special teams making their way out to the field. All right. Rebels kicking the ball off. Looks like the Knights are going to run the ball right up the center of the field. Looking for a good line. Ooh, past 25, past the 30. Got a lot of white jerseys and red helmets on the ball carrier. And a good run by number 16 of the Knights, making it past the 30-yard line. Getting a couple extra yards in there. Fighting for every inch for his team. Living up to that Grit City portion of the Grit City Knights name. All right, team's on the line. Snap is back and ball is handed off to number 10, who is swiftly brought down by the Rebels defense. Little loss of yards right there, and the Knights will find themselves a little bit further back in the field. A little bit tougher position. Looks like 2nd and 13. Knights and Rebels on the ball. Snap is back to number 14 of the Knights. Looking around, pass over to number 27 of the Knights. And number 27 is brought down by defensive player number 44, Jack McDonald. Had some good action on this game so far. Pretty great at containing that side of the field. So excellent work by Jack McDonald. Got a 2-minute warning for the second quarter of the game and the first half of the game. All right, so 2-minute warning a little while ago. No action on the field since then. We have the Knights taking the ball with the snap back to number 14. Looking up the field, but 51, Darius Ridley, comes in and says, no, I don't think you'll be passing that ball today. Not on my field. And gets a sack. And in exchange, the Knights get another loss of yards. So we have the Knights with 4th and very long. Looks like around 26 yards. 4th and 26. Snap back and kick is up. Very solid kick. Looks like the ball is received by number 4, Looks like he's looking for a good way to make it up the field. Just a little bit too much footwork, in my opinion, from Isaiah Siff right there. Just looking for the right way to run. Should have just been kind of making his way up the field. Wound up not gaining any yards from where he caught the ball. But it's a little easier to say that from where I'm at. So looks like we're going to get a quick replay by Swoop Sounds. I'll be actually looking for the was on the field. Looks like it's going to be a penalty, a face mask. Yeah, so that looks like it's a pretty egregious face mask penalty right there on the defense, which is the Knights. So that makes sense that that was called, and that we have the ball moving up the field. Ball is snapped over to JT. He's moving around, looking for a good spot, just decides to tuck the ball and run up the field. So one of the nice things about JT is he can pass the ball, he can hand it off to a set of great running backs on the Rebels. They got a ton of wide receivers that are extremely capable, or he can just tuck that ball and run it up the field himself. So he's really a bit of a triple threat right there, and very difficult to predict. So excellent athlete leading the offense, JT. Quick snap back to JT once again and hand it off. Looks like there's some very hard contact right there. All right, we have a timeout on the field. And again, we got the current score at 39-0. Rebels leading the Knights. All right, looks like it took a little bit of time, maybe strategized a bit. Snap is back to number 3. Big pass up to, who is that? Looks like it is good for a touchdown, but I cannot see the number from where I'm at. We got number 11, Corey Klingberg. Of course it's Corey Klingberg. He's the boogeyman. He just comes around. He's the Knights' worst nightmare, man. Him and Thomas Alston are like, so many guys. Okay, so
a little bit of time, strategized a bit,
6
back to
points.
pass up.
So 5 points. And it'll be interesting to see if they go for the 1 point or the 2 point. It looks like they're going to be lining up for a 2-point conversion here. All right, pitch back to number 26, and looks like that is ran in, and it is good for another 2 points. So that is Taekwon Bowie running the ball up and over the line into the end zone, bringing the Rebels' score up to 47 to the Knights 0. Pretty short time left in the first half here, but it has been quite a one-sided game thus far. Not much in the way of interceptions, but we've seen a few turnovers, a few different things going on. And it looks like we actually have an athlete down on the field right now. We got some injury time going. That is unfortunate. You never like to see that. This looks like number 25 of the Knights. Looks like they got a team physio out there checking them out. We're going to take a little bit of this downtime to thank a few of our sponsors. The first one we'd like to thank is Toyota of Olympia. If you're out in the Olympia area and you're looking for a car or truck to buy, it's just that time in your life and you just need a more reliable vehicle, then look no further than Toyota of Olympia. Thank you so much for your support of the West Sound Rebels. We also have Joel Gibson Jr., who is a country music artist out of the Pacific Northwest. If you like country music or you like music in general, go check out Joel Gibson Jr. Thank you so much for your continued support. And last but not least of this small sponsor break, we'd like to thank the Tracyton Movie House in Bremerton. If you're out in Bremerton and looking for a good place to check out a movie, look no further than Tracyton Movie House in Bremerton. Thank you so much for your continued support of the West Sound Rebels. Getting back to the game, we got our athlete from the Knights off the field. Hopefully he's going to be all right. Looks like he needed to be assisted off the field, unfortunately. And we have the Rebels getting ready to kick the ball to the Knights. And here comes Vernon Parker with that leg. A big kick, strong kick, all the way into the end zone. Ooh, and a little fumble by the Knights receiver. Looks like number 16. And just could not make his way up the field effectively. Looks like he will be out around the 16-yard line, but that actually expires the second quarter, so that is halftime. We're going to be taking a 15-minute break here. Looks like the first half of the game was absolutely dominated by the West Sound Rebels. The current score is 47-0, and you know it's definitely telling that the West Sound Rebels have improved since the last game. At this point in the game, there were not this many points, and it looks as though the West Sound Rebels are not going to be slowing down anytime soon. Very effective offense, very effective defense, very effective team. It's no wonder that they're ranked number 6 in the nation currently. So, with that being said, we're going to take a quick 15-minute break here, and don't you turn us off though. Don't you go anywhere. Just grab some food, get your water break in. You know, do what you got to do. Hit the restroom and tune back in 15 minutes so you can check out the rest of the game. All right, so we'll see you then. All right, welcome back to the second half of the game. We have the Knights kicking off to the Rebels, and it looks like number 81 kind of fumbles the ball a little bit, but passes it back, and we have an effective run up the side of the field for the Rebels. All right, once again, this is game number 8, and the Rebels are up 47-0 over the Knights. Rebels offense approaching the line. All right, snap back to JT, and looks like he's just going to run right up to the line of scrimmage, throw that ball, and pass was intended for number 80. Ooh, struggling to see his number on that angle. Looks like 84. Yes, 84. And just could not quite get that ball in his hands. So the Rebels will remain at their own 40-yard line, 2nd and 10. Snap back to JT, and he's looking around for a good receiver and decides to just tuck the ball and commit to the run, jumping over a couple defensive players, trying to get every yard he can out of that run. We will see exactly where the officials place that ball. Looks like it will be shy of the first down, but it will have done the majority of the work that is necessary to get it. All right, looks like it will be ruled down at the 49-yard line, and the Rebels will be taking the ball there. 3rd and 1. Rebels on the ball. Snap back to JT, quick handoff. And it looks like we have a tug of war with one of the players there, number 10, who was the ball carrier. That is Simeon Wells. Definitely good for a first down. Brilliant play by the offensive line right there, actually grabbing number 10 and pulling him across the line. I do have to say that that's pretty awesome. Quick thinking, and we have another play. Snap back to JT, fake handoff, looking for a good receiver, passed. Ooh, and the pass was intended for number 5, but it actually hit the chest of one of the Knights. Ooh, it's real close to an interception. However, pass is incomplete, and the Rebels will be taking their second down from the same line of scrimmage. All right, snap back to JT once again, and we have defenders in the backfield. Looks like JT's just gonna tuck that ball and run up the side of the field as far as he can get. Looks like he's gonna be out somewhere between the Knights' 30 and 25-yard line, but we will see where it is ruled down exactly. And at the very least, it's good enough for a first down. All right. 1st and 10 for the Rebels on the 25-yard line. Snap back to JT, and looks like there is a penalty. Flag on the field, likely false start. All right, false start. That will be a 5-yard penalty on the offense, which is the Rebels at this moment. And they're back on the line. We got a snap back to JT, number 3, the quarterback for the West Sound Rebels. Looking for a receiver, decides to tuck the ball and just run again. Sliding in. And looks like that's going to be good for a first down. All right, looks like that was good for a first down, and it looks like 1st and goal, or it could be 1st and 10, honestly, but we will see. All right. All right, second goal for the Rebels. Snap back to number 3 and hand it off to number 24, running up the field, straight up the middle, Randy Greer. And we'll see what kind of gain he was able to get. Looks like it was quite significant. But we have a player down, unfortunately. We will see who that is. Looks like it may be one of the linemen from the Rebels. All right, looks like we have the Rebels player up and getting his way off the field with a little bit of help. Again, you never like to see that, you know, even in fierce rivalries, you never like to see players getting hurt, so never a fun thing, but nonetheless part of the sport. Okay, so we have the Rebels on the 4-yard line of the Knights. 3rd and goal. Snap back to JT, looking for somebody to get it to, pass, and was intended for number 9, but it looks like it could be a pass interference penalty. So we will see what the referees call this as. All right, looks like it was waved off and there is actually no penalty. Okay. And the Rebels are faced with a 4th and goal situation on the 5-yard line. It'll be interesting to see what they can piece together here. Snap back to JT, looking to his left, deciding to tuck that ball. He wants to pass it, see if it's good. Looks like it is not. Looks like it is not good, and we will have a turnover due to an incomplete pass. All right, so we have a turnover, and the Rebels defense making their way out, the Knights offense making their way out. And while we watch them making their way out, we'd like to thank a few more of our sponsors, Harbor Life Chiropractic PC and Gig Harbor. If you're out in Gig Harbor and your back hurts, go check out some people that know how to fix that kind of thing. Harbor Life Chiropractic PC. We also have Clear Choice Dispensary in Tacoma. If you're in Tacoma and looking for a dispensary, the choice is clear. Clear Choice Dispensary. And lastly, if you're out in Bremerton and looking for some tasty food, you should check out McLeod's Grill House in Bremerton. They have a wide selection of delicious, tasty eats for you to dine on. So check them out, McLeod's Grill House in Bremerton. All right, we have the snap for the first play of this series for the Knights. And it looks like there was no real gain of yardage there. So looks like the ball will remain on the Knights' 5-yard line. And they will have 2nd and 10 coming up. The snap back to number 14, and an effective run made straight up the middle by number 24 of the Knights, but brought down very effectively by one of the defenders, and almost a first down, but not quite. All right, all the athletes on the line getting ready. Oh, and my mistake, that was ruled as a first down on the last play. However, that was actually ruled, okay, yeah, sorry. So that was actually ruled as a first down on that last play, so I did misspeak. However, what you're seeing right now is the end of the third quarter, so we're transitioning to the fourth quarter. Second half of the game is flying by, but not a lot of action in the points department in that third quarter. So we'd like to take a little bit of this time to thank a few more of our sponsors, Hops and Drops in Silverdale. If you're out in Silverdale and you're looking for some tasty beer to enjoy during these summer months, go check out Hops and Drops in Silverdale. We'd also like to thank Woodridge Vision Clinic in Port Orchard. If you are out in Port Orchard and you are just not seeing those beautiful, beautiful trees or the sound the same way that you used to, then why not get that checked out? Go head over to Woodridge Vision Clinic and get your eyes checked, get some glasses, get some contacts, whatever it is that you may need to enjoy life a little bit more as far as sight, they can provide it for you. So Woodridge Vision Clinic, thank you so much. We'd also like to thank the Clark brothers. Thank you so much for your continued support of the West Sound Rebels. Thank you to the Clark brothers. And getting back to the game, we have the Knights with the ball. Looks like we had a quick snap and a loss of yards for the Knights. All right, so Knights on the ball on their own 7-yard line. And the snap is back to number 14, handed off for a quick run up the middle, but it was not to be. Number 32, the ball carrier, is down. Very short, looks like small loss of yardage actually on that play. And the Knights will be taking the ball from their own 6-yard line. Looks like about 3rd and 20. All right, Knights on the ball. Snap is back to number 14, looking for a receiver and throws to number 5, who catches the ball. Looks like the pass is good. It's going to be good for a first down. Huge play for the Knights. Arguably one of the biggest plays of the game for them. And we'll see if they can carry that momentum through the rest of the fourth quarter and put some points on the board. Okay, we got the chains moving in the back. Going to be first down, and the ball is placed on the Knights' 38-yard line. So huge play. It looks like a 32-yard play on that last play. All right, Knights taking the ball from their own 38-yard line. 14 is ready. Ball is snapped back, handed off to number 24. And we got a flag on the play, maybe a false start. We'll see exactly what we got. Looks like the penalty is ruled against the Knights as a false start, unfortunately, for them. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty. And it will be a repeat of play. So the Knights will be taking the ball from their own 33-yard line for 1st and 15. All right, snap is back to number 14, looking for a receiver. Ball is up, intended for number 5 again, but intercepted by number 2, Thomas Alston. You know, he's got to have the most interceptions on the team at this point, because he is just picking off passes left and right. Really very impressive, number 2. Quite an impressive athlete. So we have the replay coming up right here, brought to you by Swoop Sounds. So Rebels replay on the way. Here you see the Knights snap that ball back. Number 14 for wide receiver, passes up, intended for 5. Comes in, jumps up, picks off that ball, and you know, that's just another day for Thomas Alston. Apparently, he's just that's just part of his routine. He shows up and says, "Hey, how many interceptions today? 2, 3, whatever. You know, we'll figure it out. We'll just make it up on the way." Okay, we got the Rebels offense out on the field. Snap is back to JT and pitched over to number 2, Thomas Alston. Boy, that guy is on both sides of the ball. It's crazy. Passes it back to number 3, but it is just not meant to be. Looks like that portion of the pass was incomplete. So that will kill the play, and Rebels have a 2nd and 10 on the their own 31-yard line. All right, ball is passed from Thomas Alston out to what looks like number 11, Corey Klingberg, who was brought down at the 33-yard line. Good for a 1st down. So we got the chains moving. And you may have noticed that that last play was actually a 1st and 5. There was a defensive penalty, but they snapped the ball so quick that I wasn't able to really talk about it much. So anyway, we got 1st down here. Snap is back to JT. Looking around, decides to tuck the ball and just run straight up the middle himself. He don't care. He's juking, jiving, left and right, up and down, and almost gets a 1st down again. Seems like the offense really wants to get another touchdown before the end of this game. The game is moving real swift at this point. I believe we do have a running clock. So the Rebels have the ball, 2nd and 2. Snap back to JT, big pass up, and looks like the ball was caught by number 88, That is Matthew Boudon. And that's going to be good for a first and goal. But we have 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Plenty of time to get this touchdown for the Rebels, but maybe not another one. We'll see what they can squeak out. And I may have misspoke. It looks like it is first and goal at the 1 yard line. Ball is snapped and handed off. Oh, looks like it was handed off to number 26. That is Taekwon Bowie, but we may have a penalty on the play. A little bit of confusion on the field. All right, so that was not ruled as a touchdown, but looks like we had a great run by number 26, Taekwon Bowie, making his way up the field, gaining several yards on his way. And we have 3rd and 4, but we have a 2-minute warning as well. So, sorry, 3rd and goal on the 4 yard line. Rebels in possession of the ball in the Knights territory, but we got a 2-minute warning. So with this 2-minute warning, we would like to thank a few more of our sponsors. We have Bacavino Winery in Tukwila. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you like red or white wine, or just a bunch of different types of wine, rosés maybe, I don't know what your fancy may be, but you can go check out Bacavino Winery in Tukwila and get a little treat for yourself. We also have Mr. and Mrs. Myers in Bremerton. Thank you so much for your continued support. We know that you love it when we shout you out, but we do love it when you support us, and you've been supporting us for so long, so we really appreciate that. Thank you so much to Mr. and Mrs. Myers in Bremerton. Hey, if you like the jerseys that you're seeing on the screen right now, be them Knights or Rebels, you should check out Northwest Athletic Apparel because that's where they're from. They do some great designs. They got some great, not just great designs, but great material. And we appreciate it so much. So thank you for your continued support, Northwest Athletic Apparel. And last, for this little break, we're going to thank Timberland Savings Bank. If you're in the market for a checking or savings account, go check out Timberland Savings Bank. Thank you so much for your continued support. All right, getting back to the game. We have Rebels, and they need to make a little gain of yardage right here. Snap back to Taekwon Bowie. Snap back to TJ and ran through by Taekwon Bowie, number 26. Looks like it's going to be good for a touchdown. It's going to be 6 more points onto the total for the day. That's going to bring the score up all the way to 53. So Rebels with 53, Knights with 0. Less than 2 minutes left in the game, likely 1 minute or less. All right, looks like they are lining up for a single point attempt. Oh, and it is a fake. But it looks like there's a flag on the play. All right, while they're assessing this, we're going to thank 1 or 2 more of our sponsors. We have Cloyce and Mike Construction in Bremerton. If you're out on the peninsula or really anywhere in the western Washington State area, check out Cloyce and Mike Construction in Bremerton for any of your construction needs. That's cloyceandmike.com or 360 New Roof. We also want to thank the Senecal family. Thank you so much for your continued support to the Senecal family. You guys have been a sponsor of ours for quite a while, and we just want to give you a huge thanks from the West Sound Rebels directly to you. So thank you for your continued support. We got Left Coast Events. They do all kinds of stuff. They do catering. They make delicious food. I had some of the barbecue chicken a couple weeks ago, and it was a bomb. I'll tell you what, they also do graphics and prints. Basically anything that you could want for an event, they got you covered. Go check out Left Coast Events. And then everybody's favorite, Fat Zach's Pizza. Fat Zach's know how to make some pizza. I'll tell you what, because Skinny Zach just ain't gonna cut it. All right, Fat Zach's Pizza is where it's at. Doesn't matter what you like on it. If you like the sardines, if you don't like the sardines, if you like the pineapples, if you don't like the pineapples, if you like them both, if you don't like them both. I don't care. He doesn't care. He just makes good pizza. That's all he does. All right, so trust him to make you some good pizza. Fat Zach's Pizza. We also got Swoop Sounds. That's what you're watching. That's what you're seeing. That's what you're hearing right now. That's Swoop Sounds. You can find us on Swoop Sounds on Instagram, or you can check us out on pretty much any major social media, but definitely check us out on Instagram, Swoop Sounds. Give us a follow. Getting back to the game, we got Vernon Parker kicking that ball super hard. And some fancy footwork by number 5 from the Knights, running that ball back, trying to get up the field. All right, while the teams are switching out, we're going to thank a few more of our sponsors. Metro Parks of Tacoma, thank you so much for your continued support. You've been with us for quite a while, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much for that continued support. We also have Fine Ivory Enterprises, LLC. That is a mobile wellness service that can come to you anywhere in King County. They also do some parts of Pierce County, and they also have a brick and mortar, but basically they bring wellness services to you if you are in the market for those. So they're a pretty awesome business. We had the opportunity to do an interview with them one-on-one a couple games ago, and it was fun chatting with them. I'd love to have them back and just learn more about that business. It's something that is totally, it's very cutting edge. It's very cool. And then lastly, we'd like to thank Tres Agaves in Belfair. If you're out in the Belfair area looking for some delicious Mexican food, go check out Tres Agaves in Belfair. They also got good margaritas, so hey, what's up? Anyway, getting back to the game, it looks as though they are just calling the game. So we've got the athletes up on the line. Some good sportsmanship going on right there. Got to appreciate that. You know, it's all these players appreciate one another's struggle. They're all very familiar with it, and the kind of sacrifices that each of them are having to make, you know, not just on a weekly basis, but on a daily basis. You know, even if you're fierce rivals, you have to respect that there's a lot of sacrifice made in order to pursue goals like that. So, you know, biggest of the shout outs to the Grit City Knights and the West Sound Rebels, the players and the staff, everyone involved. Excellent sportsmanship right there. All right, so this being game 8, this is actually our last season game. And, you know, so this is the final game. Next week, we do have a playoff game. Sorry, I should say the Rebels have a playoff game against the Knights again. The actual location is still to be determined. However, that wraps up the season, and now we're going into postseason. Now we're going into the playoffs, and that'll be an interesting pursuit in itself. But you know, we don't know exactly where we will be playing that game next week, but you can definitely find us here, same place on YouTube. That's the West Sound Rebels YouTube channel, and you know, it's been quite the season for the West Sound Rebels. They, you know, won every single game except for one of their matchups, and even that matchup turned out to be a pretty close game. You know, in this outscoring their opponent in the second half of the game, showing that they definitely had the capacity. It was just a little bit of a consistency issue. So very, very excited to be going into the playoffs, and very excited to see what this team is capable of, because truly they can absolutely be contenders if they can keep their consistency high. They can absolutely be contenders for the national championship this year. So very fun and interesting, and like a team that is filled with a great amount of talent. But we want to go through our sponsors and thank them one more time. So Toyota of Olympia, thank you so much for your continued support. You know, if you're out in the Olympia area, or you're just north or south of there, you're out in we'll say Chehalis or Centralia, or you happen to be north in the Tacoma area, hey, and you need a car or truck, why not support a company that, or why not support a dealership that supports local sports like this, West Sound Rebels, right? Thank you to Toyota of Olympia. We also got Joel Gibson Jr., a country music artist from the Pacific Northwest. Just a good dude, man. Just somebody that's like, hey, you know what? We got a bunch of athletes out here pursuing their dreams on a semi-pro team, trying to make it happen for themselves, you know? And he wants to support that, so we want to give him a shout out, but I would like you to support him in exchange, because he's just doing the same thing, right? He's pursuing his dreams, and why not give him a listen, okay? Go to YouTube, go search up Joel Gibson Jr., check him out, see if you like him, buy an album, do what you got to do, right? Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you so much, Joel Gibson Jr. We also got Tracyton Movie House in Bremerton. That is a theater over in Bremerton, and you should definitely check them out. If you like movies and you're in Bremerton, just go check them out, man. They're supporting local sports. They're supporting this team all the way over on the other side of the peninsula, and very generous of them. So thank you so much to the Tracyton Movie House in Bremerton. And over in Gig Harbor, we got Harbor Life Chiropractic PC. You know, I am actually a huge proponent of chiropractors. I definitely think that sometimes they get a little bit of a bad rap, and it's kind of like MDs in a way, you know, like 10% of them are a little bit, you know, junky, and the 10% ruin it for the other 90%. And the way that I think about chiropractors in general is just like, hey, if you got something out of place in your engine and it's rattling and it's messing stuff up, you take it to a mechanic and you get it put back in place. Well, it's the same damn thing with your back, right? If your spine's out of place, get it put back in place. Like, it doesn't take a lot of brain power to figure out that that's something that's very legitimate. So if your back hurts, go get checked out. And if you're in Gig Harbor, go get checked out by Harbor Life Chiropractic PC, all right? Then we got Clear Choice Dispensary in Tacoma. Hey, who doesn't like a dispensary, right? We live in Washington. Enjoy that. Okay, enjoy that. If that's something that's for you, and it's not for you, hey, that's totally cool, man. But why not enjoy a company or a business that has supported this team throughout the entire season? And that's so much appreciated by the West Sound Rebels. So thank you so much to Clear Choice Dispensary in Tacoma. I'll say it once more. The choice is clear. Clear Choice Dispensary. We also got McLeod's Grill House in Bremerton. You know, I have checked out all these businesses, and not in person, but like their menus and stuff, and I do see a bunch of delicious looking things on McLeod's Grill House, or at McLeod's Grill House in Bremerton. So I know if I make my way over to Bremerton, I'm going to be checking out McLeod's Grill House. So thank you so much for your continued support. And then Hops and Drops in Silverdale. I've been to a few of those, and I do think that the selection of Hops and Drops is pretty bomb.com/yummy in my tummy, especially on a hot day. So get over to Hops and Drops. But why not get over to the Hops and Drops over in Silverdale, because it's a beautiful area. And right now you're seeing the background, you're seeing the Mount Rainier, gorgeous sight, but you could be looking at that, drinking a beer on a patio at a Hops and Drops, Like, what's not to like about that? Man, look at how gorgeous that is. Okay, we also got Woodridge Vision Clinic talking about, look how gorgeous that is. Wouldn't you love to see that in a little bit better quality if your eyes are kind of going out on you? I got to tell you this because I fought wearing glasses for quite a while, and I'm glad I got glasses now because quality of life is like so much better. You can see so many more things. You can see the definition in the mountains. You can see all the individual trees up on the hillside, and it's not just a green blur. It's awesome, man. So if your eyes are going bad and you're out in the Port Orchard area, man, just go get checked out by Woodridge Vision Clinic. Go get checked out by a clinic that's supporting a local team, and we appreciate that. So thank you so much to Woodridge Vision Clinic. We also got Clark Brothers. Thank you so much for the continued support. These sponsors like the Clark Brothers, they're just supporting the team. They don't have any business to sell. They don't have anything, and like, isn't that touching? You know what I mean? They just say, hey, here's the West Sound Rebels. We want to support you. Here's some support, and that's that kind of love. I think it only multiplies when you give it out to people. So thank you so much to the Clark Brothers. We got Bacavino Winery in Tukwila. Bunch of people around that area, very populated area, but Bacavino Winery, they offer whites, they offer reds, they got some rosés. Who doesn't like wine, man? Go check them out. Support a business that is supporting the West Sound Rebels, especially if you're enjoying this broadcast, if you're enjoying watching these players, if you're one of the family members of one of these players, one of the friends, one of the just people enjoying the game. Go check out Bacavino Winery. Go check out some of these sponsors. You don't have to check out any particular one, but Bacavino Winery, if you like wine, go check them out. They're in Tukwila. We also got Mr. and Mrs. Myers in Bremerton. Thank you so much for your continued support, as always. And just another one of those sponsors that doesn't have anything to sell you. They just got love to give, and that's a beautiful thing. So thank you so much to Mr. and Mrs. Myers in Bremerton for your support this entire season. Truly blessed to feel that. So we hope that you feel the love from us as well. We got Northwest Athletic Apparel. I say it all the time. They're responsible for like all the jerseys you see, and they got awesome designs. They got good material and this and that. But also, they have supported this team through the season, and so we really appreciate that, and we hope that you appreciate that at home, and maybe just maybe that will translate over to you being inclined to check them out if you have any need for their services. So check them out if you do have a need for their services. Northwest Athletic Apparel. We also got Timberland Savings Bank. Man, everybody needs a bank account, and if you don't have one or you're looking for another one, why not support a business that is supporting us? So if you need a checking account, you need a savings account, then go take a look over at Timberland Savings Bank. Next up, we got Cloyce and Mike Construction in Bremerton. Construction outfits, it's there's a fair amount of them, but also they can work in a lot of different places, but there's really only one construction outfit on this sponsor, and they also happen to have been the best of Kitsap, or best of South Kitsap, I should say, a couple times. And, that's not a fluke. Maybe once could be a fluke, but twice ain't a fluke. Twice is proving it, and then 3 times is a habit, right? So, and they've been that several times at this point. So you can check those guys out. If you got a construction project, go check them out at cloyceandmike.com, or you can just give them a call if that's more your way of doing things. 360 New Roof. They do all kinds of different construction, so go check them out if you have any need for them. They're based out of Bremerton. That is Cloyce and Mike Construction in Bremerton. And then we got the Senecal family. That's another one of those sponsors that doesn't have anything to sell you. They just got love to give, and we really appreciate that from them, and we're giving that love back. So thank you so much to the Senecal family for your support this season. It means the world to the West Sound Rebels. And then Left Coast Events. Man, I'll tell you what, they make some really bomb food. I've eaten a bunch of the different meals that they cook, and whew, very tasty. I especially like their teriyaki chicken, and they got this like macaroni salad. Oh, it's so good. Oh man. But they also do a bunch of other stuff. They do like graphics and prints. They They do all kinds of things that you would need for an event, and so that is Left Coast Events. So if you got an event coming up and you need that, then go check them out. And we got Fat Zach's Pizza. You know, I love doing spots for Fat Zach's Pizza, and I think the guys on the crew enjoy it too, because I'm always talking about how you can never trust a skinny chef and like Fat Zach's Pizza, but like, hey, isn't that the truth, right? Like, it's a good time, but go check them out, okay? Fat Zach's Pizza, delicious food. It's wood-fired pizza. You're gonna enjoy it, and if you don't, then your taste buds must be dead, because it's delicious. Moving on from Fat Zach's Pizza, we got Swoop Sound. That's what you're seeing, that's what you're hearing, and that's what you've been enjoying this whole season. So when you see one of the broadcasts of these games on the West Sound Rebels YouTube channel, it's likely that it's from the Swoop Sounds media team. And if you want to check us out or hire us for some kind of event to be covered, be it a whole season or a single event, we do single camera coverage, we do multi-camera coverage, we do this whole coverage with announcing, we do all kinds of different packages. And so if you have any interest in that, then just come to check us out. We're most readily accessed through Instagram as Swoop Sounds, and or we can do swoopsounds.com. Sorry, .net. swoopsound.net. So either one of those, swoopsounds.net or Swoop Sounds on Instagram. Huge thank you out to Swoop Sounds. We also got Metro Parks of Tacoma. Thank you so much for your continued support. You've been with us the entire season, and we appreciate that greatly. We play most of our games in Tacoma, and if you've been in the area, you know that the area has changed quite a bit over the years, and it seems like it's been changing for the better, honestly. So I think that's pretty awesome, and I think that is at the very least in part due to Metro Parks of Tacoma. So thank you for your support, but also thank you for everything you do every day. You guys are awesome. We also got Fine Ivory Enterprises. That is a mobile wellness service that comes to you anywhere in King County and some places in Pierce County. They also got a brick and mortar. We did an interview with them a couple of games back, and it was really cool to hear about what kind of services can actually just be brought to the customer. Like, I think that's brilliant. Super smart move, because really so many businesses are based around convenience now, and that's super convenient to have a wellness service come to you instead of you having to go 30 minutes out of your way somewhere else. You can just schedule with them, and they can line it up and be really efficient with their driving around with the equipment. It's just a great idea. So anyway, if you're looking for a mobile wellness service or a wellness service in general, instead of driving to them, why don't you just have them drive to you? And that's Fine Ivory Enterprises. So go check them out, Fine Ivory Enterprises, LLC. The last one we got today is Tres Agaves in Belfair. If you're out in Belfair and you're looking for some bomb Mexican food, then that's where you got to go. Okay, they've been with us for a couple games now, but they're going steady, and we appreciate that. So thank you so much to Tres Agaves in Belfair. All right, so that wraps up our coverage. You're seeing that gorgeous view of Mount Rainier in Tacoma, Washington, or I should say from Tacoma, Washington. And that's what it's like in the Pacific Northwest. We got beautiful sunrises, we got beautiful sunsets, we got beautiful people, we got beautiful companies, and we got beautiful football teams and beautiful people. So yeah, life is good. But thank you so much for watching this season, and this concludes the in-season broadcasting. We will pick it up next week at a to-be-determined location for the postseason, which will be again against the Grit City Knights. So that will be our first game, and we will see you then. So this is Zach McCurley signing off for now, and we will see you next week. Take care.